And they will become really, frankly, bit part players. Now, they won't like that. And that's probably what this is all about, making sure they've got a presence, a brand to monetize, because pretty soon they're not going to be able to get as much money out of being royals.
While saying he wanted to be free from the royal family's money, reports say Prince Harry was doing something that proves he never really escaped, asking his friends for money, not just a little bit to pay bills, but a huge $50 million, supposedly from David Beckham, the same Beckham who was once Harry's friend and supporter. For Harry, who had made fun of the royals for caring too much about money, this wasn't just desperate, it was embarrassing.
Al writing about saying that Harry did have fears that he might, become irrelevant into his 50s, and they're making a huge noise at the moment.
Yeah.
But he undoubtedly will. He'll be a bald 50-year-old prince that, a gentleman, someone formerly known as Prince. That's what he will be.
People close to Beckham say he didn't just politely say no, he flat out refused, the kind of hard no that really hurts. And in Hollywood, news of that rejection spread faster than any royal announcement ever could. Sources say this wasn't just one mistake, but the end result of Harry's money problems getting worse and worse. The fancy life in their expensive Montecito house and private jets was apparently falling apart. Spotify had already ended their $20 million podcast deal. Netflix was losing interest, and people were starting to whisper about bankruptcy. Meghan's expensive lifestyle and Harry's refusal to spend less money were draining their bank account faster than new deals could fill it up. Even their Hollywood friends started asking if the Sussex brand was built on weak ground. And when those questions reached Beckham, a man known for being smart with money and business, his answer meant more than any financial report.
Some journalists in America who were saying how we love a kind of boy or girl done good. And the fact that for Harry and Meghan, for a very long time, a lot of the stories have been negative and around, we felt badly treated by the royal family.
If Beckham wouldn't help Harry, who would? What makes this hurt even more is their history as friends. Beckham wasn't just a celebrity friend. He was seen as Harry's connection to worldwide fame. He came to royal weddings, supported the couple, and his family was close to the Sussexes. But that trust was already broken. Sources say Meghan accused Victoria Beckham of telling private stories to newspapers, which made the Beckhams angry. Though they tried to keep it quiet, the friendship never fully healed. So when Harry came asking for what many call a crazy amount of money, it wasn't just bad timing. It was the final straw. Beckham's refusal didn't just deny Harry money, it showed that one of his last famous friendships was over. And now, people are calling Harry the begging prince, who faces not just money problems, but the harsh reality that even his most famous friends won't help him out.
Game on this, the Sussexes, because they've done their branding for their two children. She's writing a diary entry every night to Archie and Lilibet. I wonder what that's for, the diary of Archie and Lilibet. I don't know, it's a nice book.
Sources say the Beckham story was just the latest part of a much bigger breakdown. From the moment Harry and Meghan left the palace, they promised the world a bold new business built on independence and star power. Instead, what sources say really happened was a weak business plan that relied too much on hype, sympathy, and expensive media deals. Spotify's $20 million podcast deal ended suddenly, with executives calling the project disappointing. Netflix, once excited about the Sussex story, reportedly started losing interest after poor viewing numbers, add expensive legal bills, multiple PR teams, and a Montecito house that sources say costs a fortune every month, and the picture becomes clear. This wasn't freedom, it was a slow-motion money disaster. By the time people started whispering about bankruptcy, industry insiders weren't shocked. They were just waiting for the news to break. But Harry's response surprised even his closest friends.
Those two will be, and they've got all their branding around that, they will be something that they will be able to monetize. And unfortunately about the Sussexes, I just call them H&M, because I don't believe they should have the title, is all about the money.
Instead of cutting expenses, refinancing, or finding smaller investors, reports say he went all in. Asking Beckham for $50 million wasn't just bold, it was outrageous. That kind of money isn't just help, it's a complete rescue. To put it in perspective, $50 million is the kind of money that can save entire companies, not just cover personal cash problems. For Harry to ask for such a huge amount didn't just show he needed money, it screamed desperation. Worse, it made everyone in Hollywood ask, if Harry had to do this, how bad must things really be? And if Beckham, with his huge fortune and perfect reputation, wouldn't touch the deal, why would anyone else risk their own reputation on Harry?
Should the King remove the Sussex's titles from Harry and Meghan? And 91% said absolutely.
I agree with
Wow,
it.
that's...
You agree with that,
I
Rob?
agree with it.
Do you?
I think because they've disobeyed the HRH and they've flaunted that. They're now talking about, oh, I'm Meghan Sussex. Well, you're slightly, taking the mickey out of the royal family. You're not. You want it out.
The look of it all was terrible. Beckham's rejection quickly spread through Los Angeles gossip networks, where reputation is everything and rumors spread faster than facts. Sources say that by the end of the week, producers, money people, and even celebrity agents were privately asking if Beckham walked away, what did he know that they didn't? The conversation changed overnight from whether Harry and Meghan could make a comeback to whether they were now considered toxic. In Hollywood, where image is money, rejection from someone like Beckham wasn't just a bruise, it was a death sentence for their brand. And as social media made fun of Harry as the begging prince and Harry the borrower, the damage became public. The man once celebrated as a rebel royal fighting for freedom was now being seen as someone no one wanted to touch. And if that image sticks, sources say, the doors that were once wide open to Harry and Meghan may stay closed forever. Sources reveal the Beckham situation wasn't just about money, it was about history, trust, and betrayal. For years, David and Victoria Beckham had been seen as natural friends of the Sussexes, a glamorous couple who could help connect royal tradition with Hollywood celebrity. David proudly attended royal weddings, supported charitable causes, and was reportedly one of Harry's closest celebrity friends. But under the polished public appearances, sources say anger had been building for years. The breaking point came when Meghan supposedly accused Victoria Beckham of leaking private stories to the press. People close to the Beckhams were reportedly furious, calling the accusation not only false, but deeply insulting. From that moment, the warmth between the families started to disappear. The Beckhams felt unfairly attacked, and the Sussexes quietly pulled back from the once close friendship. So when Harry came asking for what reports describe as an outrageous amount of money, Beckham's refusal wasn't just about finances, it was personal. Sources say David felt the friendship had already been damaged by years of mistrust, and the idea of giving $50 million after all that history was unthinkable. To make it worse, Beckham reportedly didn't try to soften his decision. One source described the rejection as a hard stop, not an excuse filled with apologies. In the coded world of celebrity friendships, that kind of blunt dismissal sends a powerful message. It told Hollywood that Beckham wasn't just unwilling to risk his money, he wasn't willing to risk his reputation by connecting himself with Harry at all. And once that signal went out, others began quietly distancing themselves too. Reports say that Beckham's rejection quickly became a kind of industry test, a way to judge Harry's credibility. If Beckham, who is known for being loyal to his friends, had refused, it suggested deeper problems no investor or producer wanted to deal with. Industry sources say the story spread through boardrooms and dinner parties incredibly fast. Within days, the story changed. Harry was no longer seen as a misunderstood rebel prince fighting for independence, but as a liability desperately looking for help. The fact that the refusal connected directly to years of unresolved tension with the Beckhams only made the story more powerful. What had once been whispered rumors of money troubles now had the stamp of a high-profile embarrassment. And in Hollywood, where perception is often more powerful than truth, that was enough to mark Harry and Meghan as damaged goods. According to multiple reports, once Beckham's refusal hit the Hollywood gossip network, the fallout was immediate. In Los Angeles, reputation is more valuable than gold, and rejection from someone like David Beckham was like being publicly blacklisted. Sources say that within hours of the story spreading, producers and potential investors began quietly backing away from Sussex-related projects. It wasn't about whether Harry and Meghan could still make a hit. It was about perception. If Beckham, the golden boy of branding who built a billion-dollar empire with careful planning, wouldn't put any money behind Harry, then why would anyone else risk their money, or worse, their reputation? In that world, one no from Beckham was louder than any palace statement could be. And while Hollywood insiders whispered, the internet exploded, memes making fun of Harry as the begging prince and Harry the borrower flooded social media. On TikTok, clips of Harry's old speeches about financial independence were mixed with headlines about Beckham's rejection, with captions highlighting the irony with brutal accuracy. "Freedom costs more than you thought, huh?" On Twitter, one viral post summed up the mood. Imagine leaving the royal family for independence, only to beg Beckham for $50 million. Even sympathetic fans began to question whether Harry's dream of independence had been a carefully crafted lie. Reports suggest that Netflix's own subscribers began leaving mean comments under trailers for "With Love, Meghan," making fun of the Sussexes' supposed money mismanagement. The verdict wasn't just critical, it was comedic. And in the brutal court of public opinion, laughter is often deadlier than anger. The embarrassment didn't end with memes. Industry commentators began comparing Harry to fallen aristocrats throughout history, men and women who wasted privilege and ended up begging for help. Some went so far as to label Harry Hollywood's most expensive liability, a phrase that quickly caught on online. The look for Meghan was equally devastating. Her brand has always relied on projecting influence, glamour, and control, a woman shaping culture, not scrambling for help. But the Beckham situation shattered that image. What's glamorous about begging for $50 million? What's powerful about being turned down flat by one of the most respected men in sports and entertainment? For Meghan, sources say the rejection wasn't just about Harry's pride, it was about the collapse of the brand she had spent years carefully building. Instead of being seen as power players, the Sussexes were increasingly viewed as out-of-touch celebrities who couldn't even manage their own business. Reports suggest the most painful fallout didn't come from Hollywood or the internet, but from the quiet halls of the palace. When Harry and Meghan stormed out of royal life, they said their departure was about wanting financial independence, freedom from the monarchy's control, and the chance to build their own empire. Now, with whispers of bankruptcy and stories of begging friends for bailouts, sources say the palace feels quietly proven right. They didn't need to say a word. Harry's actions proved their point. The boy who wanted freedom discovered that freedom was far more expensive than he imagined, and far less forgiving. Behind closed doors, one royal aide reportedly described the Beckham situation as the perfect warning story. To them, Harry wasn't a rebel prince anymore. He was a man trapped by his own contradictions, embarrassed not by palace restrictions, but by his own choices. And the damage isn't going away. In Hollywood, sources say perception is now set. The Sussexes aren't power players, they're liabilities. Meghan's attempts to rebuild momentum with her Netflix projects are now seen through the lens of desperation rather than influence. For investors, the Beckham rejection isn't just gossip, it's proof. If the most polished, globally trusted figure in entertainment branding wouldn't back Harry, why would they? According to reports, doors that once swung open are now closing quietly, with projects being politely reconsidered or shelved. The cruel irony? Harry left the royal family to escape a system that controlled his importance. Now, he's facing something harsher, a Hollywood that doesn't just ignore irrelevance but punishes it. The brand is no longer controversial or groundbreaking, it's mocked. And in this industry, mockery is the kiss of death. Which brings us to the bigger question. What happens next? Can Harry and Meghan stage a comeback, or is this truly the beginning of the end for their Hollywood reign? Industry sources suggest the odds are bad. You can recover from bad press, from lawsuits, even from flops. But recovering from being laughed at? That's far harder. Because once the public decides you're a joke, every move you make gets filtered through that lens. And right now, Harry's not the soldier, not the rebel prince, not the philanthropist. He's the begging prince, the man mocked for asking his old friend for $50 million and walking away with nothing but memes. In the unforgiving world of reputation, that may be the one debt he can never repay. So now I want to hear from you. Do you believe Harry's supposed request for $50 million proves his empire is about to collapse? Was Beckham right to shut the door so firmly? And do you think this marks the final breakdown of the Sussex brand in Hollywood? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I'll be featuring the best takes in my next video. Hit that like button if this shocked you, subscribe so you never miss the next twist, and click here for another celebrity scandal that proves reputation in Hollywood can disappear overnight.